So in this video, I wanted to show you different examples of how I'm using my planner spreads on my Supernote and compare it to how I was using it in my Hobonichi planner. So I'm not going to talk about the planning process on my Supernote in this video, but I'm going to leave a link in the description to a write-up that I did detailing the planning process. I'm breaking this video up into 5 different parts, and it's going to be covering the yearly spread, quarterly spread, monthly spread, weekly spread, and daily spread. Okay, so the first section I'm going to be talking about is my yearly spread. So on my Hobonichi from 2018, that's how long I haven't used analog planners. You'll see that there's a spread for the year here, and I was basically using this to track my holidays, my paydays, my races, and my events. So how I'm using the yearly spread in my Supernote is almost in the same fashion. I'm using it to track my vacations, my PTO requests, holidays, pay schedule, and any major events. So this for me is more of a big picture map, and I use it to block out any non-negotiables. Things that are going to affect the flow of my year are going to go on this yearly spread. Okay, so the next section I'm going to be talking about is the quarterly spread. So I can tell you right now, in 2018, I don't think I was using the quarterly spread at all. But I have gotten better, and I have found some case uses for the quarterly spread. So on my Supernote, I like to use the quarterly spread as a way to track down my projects. Because my projects can span up to 3 months and more, having this view allows me to go into greater detail before each project is complete. Also, I am someone who likes to have a schedule, but I also like the ability to have that flexibility to move things around. I don't want it to be so rigid that I can't move things around. So having this view allows me to see when the due date is, and then I can move the task accordingly if I have things that will conflict with that completion date. So for my example, I have a project that's due on the 24th of January. I will mark down all of the tasks that I need to do before I can mark this project as complete, as well as I will mark any milestones that I may have achieved along the way. That's especially helpful for me in particular because I always forget what I did throughout the year. So when my annual review comes up, I don't know what I did. So I can just look back at my quarterly view and see exactly the milestones that I achieved in order for me to complete that project. I will also mark down special events or anything like that that will hinder me from completing the task. So then if I can't complete it, I'll just move it around to a different date. Okay, so in the fourth section, which is going to be the monthly spread, so on my Hobonichi again, I'm using this spread to track my goals for my hobbies. So back in 2018, my goals were for running and for reading. So I had my running goal for the month of December was to run 40 miles, which is not going to happen now. And my reading goal was to read 3 books in the month. So what I did was basically go down each day by week, and then I would put the number of miles I ran on the side here like this, and then tally it up, and then at the end of the month I would put an actual mileage of how much I ran here. And it looks like I met that goal, but then my reading goal, I only met I only read 2 books when I was supposed to read 3. And I see here that I put the second book is boring, so maybe that had something to do with me not reading the third book. Okay, so how I'm using my Supernote to kind of replicate this same process here is I still keep a running log of what my goals are. So my next year goals are going to be a little bit more specific. So I have my drawing goal, my training goal, my running goal, and my reading goal again. So I said I was going to run 15 miles this time in January because I'm just getting back into running. And I have a drawing goal of 2 pieces per month. It's kind of off topic, but what I like to do is I like to print out all of the drawings that I did over the course of the year, and just to keep myself accountable. There's 11 right now, so I'm on the verge of finishing the last one. So that's how I came up with 2 pieces this for next year. I also like to incorporate certain projects and events up here in the monthly spread just so I can see if there's any conflicting dates that would prevent me from completing any of these goals. So I know not to be so hard on myself if I don't meet all of these goals that I have here on this list. And then what I'm going to put here on this left side is the actual tally of what I completed during the end of this month for January. So this is what I do with the monthly spread. Okay, so the next section I'm going to be covering is the weekly spread. So just from looking at this right now, my 2018 Hobonichi, I see already 2 flaws in the system that I was using before. And the first flaw is that I'm trying to track way too many items on this weekly spread. So I'm trying to track down 5 items here: health and exercise, finance, to do, work, and then social. So this is way too many items for me to be tracking. And the second issue is that, of course, because it's an analog planner, I had to constantly keep creating these little templates here for every week. So I think that accounted for me not filling out any of these forms as much, or spaces as much. Okay, so I took what I learned about my system here and the flaws that I had in the weekly spread, and I kind of applied it to my Supernote here in this fashion. So instead of tracking down 5 items, I'm tracking only 2 items now. And those 2 items are going to be for my exercise, and I put mindfulness. So I put mindfulness, I put art and drawing and writing under mindfulness. And so I'm accounting for that. So just those 2 things that I'm accounting for. This actually helped me a lot because the weekly spread for me is less about those big goals, and it's just to keep me in check, just to keep me accountable for the things that I'm responsible for during the week. I like this weekly spread a lot because it actually displays to me like the kind of week I'm actually having versus the kind of week that I planned in my head. So I'm not putting anything here that are like goals. I'm putting the things down that I'm tracking. So I'm not forcing myself to go to the gym. So I'm just going to write down if I went to the gym or not in here. And the final section I'm going to be covering is going to be on the daily spread. So on my Hobonichi, I'm going to come clean right now and tell you that I did not use this at all. So it's a little ironic how my least used spread on my Hobonichi has now become my most used spread on my Supernote. So how I'm using my Supernote daily spread is that I'm still using this spread to capture my meetings, my daily captures such as quick notes, ideas, or reminders, and my journaling is that on this left hand side, you'll see that I have my to-do list here. And what I've actually done is I like to turn those to-do lists into events, which is going to be tied to my native calendar app on the Supernote. So I see these to-dos as events on here, as well as I see them on my phone here, like that. So that's a nice feature for me to have so I can see what my to-dos are for that day. And then the other portion of this is that I'm using it to capture my my meetings. So I have a separate notebook just strictly on quick captures or daily captures, just for the fact that I can jot down any items or any ideas that I may have throughout the day, and I'm using that as I'm going to link it back to that daily captures. So this is what I did for this meeting in particular. So when I click on the link here, it's going to navigate me to the daily captures here. Come on. Okay, so it's going to navigate me to my daily captures, which I have here. What I do in addition to that is I like to create a backlink to my planner up here. If the last PDF that I had open was the planner, I can simply also do this. I can just swipe up and it'll direct me back to that planner. In addition to that, I also like to add the quick access to my planner and to my daily captures here on this quick access. So it's just easier for me to navigate here as well. I'm also doing the same thing for my journaling, but I'm not going to display that here. So this is what I use for my daily spread. So that's basically how I utilize all of my different spreads on my Supernote planner. And hopefully you found something useful out of this video.